My name is Dawn Eden Goldstein. I am making this selfie video in an airport on my phone with all that entails. I'm going to speak fairly quickly because as I travel to the funeral of my friend Lyle David Brooks, who was the nephew or a nephew of Allen Ginsberg, I want to have a record to upload to his funeral page so that people see something about what he did. I hope at some point to write about it. It would take a very long time. So what I want to say is that Lyle and I first met in November 2005. He had a blog then. He had started to befriend women who were post-abortive, long-distance women who were also bloggers. He was writing his blog under a pseudonym, which he used for some years, and which, at the request of family, which I understand will not go mentioned, he liked to keep certain activities separate, but I will say that under this pseudonym he did a great deal of heroic work that was part of his life, an important part of his life, and that I know of two people at least who were reading his blog who underwent religious conversions and who credit his blog and his own religious journey, spiritual journey, as part of their journey. Around, late 2005, early 2006, Lyle, through his blog and through these post-abortive women that he met, was involved particularly with Ashley McCall, in raising funds for a woman who had said that she would abort her child if she was not properly provided for. And through this fundraising, the woman chose life for her baby. She was provided for and given everything that she requested and everything that she needed. This woman chose to, freely, I will add, to place her baby up for adoption. And when that child was born, Lyle went to the graveside of his grandmother, Naomi Ginsberg, about whom Allen Ginsberg wrote Kaddish, and he took a photograph that's currently on his funeral tribute page of himself holding pictures, or holding rather the books of the poems by Allen Ginsberg, Kaddish and Howl, on his grandmother Naomi's graveside. It was the first time that he ever visited Naomi's grave. It was the 50th anniversary of Naomi's death, and he like temporarily taped or pasted just temporarily a photograph of this newborn baby on his grandmother's headstone. And as I've thought about this in the wake of Lyle's death, I've thought that Lyle wanted to honor his grandmother, whom he felt great sympathy for because of her mental illness, her sufferings that are detailed in Allen Ginsberg's Kaddish. Lyle wanted to honor Naomi Ginsberg by showing her that she had a great granddaughter. I don't know for certain whether Naomi Ginsberg had any blood great-grandchildren, but I will tell you that honorary great-granddaughter, the baby whose life Lyle helped fundraise so that the mother would choose life, that little girl was the first of thousands of children who came to be through Lyle's accompaniment of their mothers, and not just through his accompaniment. He would be the first to say that. In fact, the only reason this hasn't come out yet is because Lyle did not want credit, never, ever sought credit, always wanted to give credit to other people. But what Lyle did was he worked with Ashley McCall and created with her a nonprofit called Beyond Morning Sickness. I don't know offhand if it was ever an actual nonprofit. Somehow I'm thinking it may not have been. But with Ashley, or actually, I guess more, I don't know the details about collaboration, but I know that Lyle himself associated this outreach under the name Beyond Morning Sickness, which was the title of Ashley's book. He came to associate this outreach formally with the Hyperemesis Education and Research Foundation, or the HER Foundation, in the sense that the outreach that he began, he then formally started to do with the HER Foundation. And what this outreach was, which he began with Ashley, was that Lyle, first he accompanied women, he and Ashley and other women they knew who were survivors of HG, accompanied women through hyperemesis, which is a terrible disease. You can look up Kate Middleton and what she went through to see something of that. So after these women were successfully accompanied by Lyle and a few others through their hyperemesis gravidarum journey, and they survived, and some, not all of them sadly, but many of them were able to have healthy babies. These women who were hyperemesis or HG survivors then became part of a volunteer network that Lyle organized. And this volunteer network extended around the world. When I say around the world, I mean around the world. And the reason I know that is because Lyle had a prayer list where every week he would send the prayer partners the names of the women who had written in for help. And he would also send their mailing addresses so that people in the prayer network could write to them and encourage them in their journey, because hyperemesis is a terribly isolating disease. And these women who have it are surrounded by family members and friends, or if they have family members and friends who are with them, those family members and friends are often saying to them, why are you putting yourself through this terrible punishment? Why not end that baby's life? Why not? They don't put it that way. They just say, why not get an abortion? And so these women feel deserted. And so Lyle set up these prayer networks of women who could send these mothers cards. But more than that, it wasn't just thoughts and prayers. Lyle set up, or helped set up, Amazon gift registries for these women, and he himself sent these women anything they needed, and I mean anything. And there are stories on the webpage of the Krauss, Krauss Funeral Home, where Lyle David Brooks his arrangements are being made. You can read these testimonies from women who say they never met him, and yet he was buying them a car so that they could escape their abusive boyfriend or husband, and that he was putting hundreds of dollars or more into Amazon gift accounts for them and telling them to buy things for themselves, buy things for their babies. Lyle had a full-time job. Lyle was an attorney with the New York State Supreme Court, and he had family members that he also cared for in some way who needed help at different times of their life. He kept up all these work obligations, all these family obligations, and over the course of nearly 20 years, he accompanied thousands of women from from every continent I know of except maybe Antarctica, and he found them volunteers near them. He found them people who spoke their language, who could help them to get the help that they needed, including very much medical help, so that they could survive this disease and have healthy babies. And that's all I want to say for now. And I'm grateful to have known this man, who I believe was a great saint, and whom I trust that I will meet in heaven with the help of his prayers. Lyle David Brooks, thank you for being my friend, my brother in our Lord Jesus Christ.